Welcome, 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 amazing friends, to this special meditation I've been guided to run to help bring more peace to the earth, to help bring more unity to the earth, more love, and to ignite those frequencies of peace, love, and unity in everyone that hears this directly. So, all of you tuning in, and to ignite this in all the people we will ever meet throughout our lifetime. And if you've ever contemplated on the impact that you can make in your life when you are shining your authenticness, it is a phenomenal thing. I call it the ripple effect. Even when you're just walking through the supermarket and you smile at that checkout clerk that nobody smiled at all day, and you remind them that they are a beautiful part of humanity, you treat them like a brother or a sister, you make all the difference. And you do that constantly with the people you talk to online, with the content you make, with whatever you do for your work, for your creations. And this is one of the ways that I have found to create huge ripples is firstly by meditating myself. Very powerful. I have transformed my life through meditation. I dedicated around 6 months to learning meditation when I first got onto my journey, and I became very proficient at it. I went on all different courses and trainings to really hone that skill. And now I've taught it to hundreds and hundreds of people. When a group of people come together in collective meditation, it transforms the world. And there have been many, many different cases where they have got hundreds, even thousands of meditators together to meditate on peace. And they track the events that happens in the cities around them. And they can see on the days where they are sending out peace, sending out love to these areas, crime rates drop dramatically. And if you can imagine a world where we have millions of people, like a network. If you've ever seen how mycelium works, this network of connection, which is what we all have at the deepest quantum level, we're all connected. Every particle is connected. And we can create this incredible network of meditators, of peaceful people, loving people, people that are doing great things in the world. And if we come together, that wave we send out, that pulse, it's phenomenal. And so thank you so much for being a part of this today. I've invited one of my great friends, Artemis, and co-founder of our Quantum Healers Alliance group, to come and share a piece later he was talking to me about. And I think it's going to be so valuable for everybody. And then we'll meditate together and let's see. Let's see how we can shift ourselves, because we know we can do that. And then let's see how we can shift our communities, how we can shift our families, how we can influence all the people in a positive and empowering way. And I'd love to invite you in this moment to get nice and present, however you like to do that. I love to take a nice deep breath into the belly and out. I love to straighten my spine. For me, the spine is like an antenna, and when it's nice and straight, it's a signal to the cosmos that I'm in receptive mode. If you just try what that feels like to be in this receptive mode, you might even feel or find your spine straightening or some clicks happening in your body, and you can set an intention. All your energy centers, that your whole body and being is optimized and aligned in the perfect way so that you can be the most clear vessel for this energy and wisdom of peace, love, and unity that's going to come through today. And as you breathe and soften and relax and just allow that adjustment to happen, just feeling anything that might not be serving you being transmuted into love. You could imagine it going off to the highest and best place for it at this time. As you prepare yourself, your body, your being. And it can be very beautiful as well to feel what it feels like to be very grounded. Perhaps feeling the weight of your body on the floor or the chair or wherever you are. Perhaps feeling this groundedness, this deep connection to the earth. There's many ways to do that. Finding your way to connect deeply with this place that we live, that provides us with all the food, abundance, and nourishment that we need. And just taking a moment to really land fully here, fully now. And the final stage I always do before I meditate is I connect consciously to what I call the energy that creates everything. There are thousands of names for this, and you can choose whatever name resonates most with you, connecting to whoever or whatever you believe is the creator of everything. That infinite intelligence that turns an apple seed into an apple tree, makes an apple tree produce apples every year, whatever you call that. Just tuning into that and realizing that that intelligence, that energy is what we are all made of. There's just one thing, and we're all made of that one thing. And when we can remember that and remember it deeply and experience it, we can feel that intelligence beats our heart, grows our fingernails, grows our hair, and grows the hair and fingernails of every person on the planet. And from that place of deepest connection, allowing ourselves to be moved and guided to express the fullness of who we are here today and contribute in our perfect way. You might be guided through this process to do something, say something, move in a certain way. And the ripple effects of that could be huge if you trust yourself and trust this intelligence. You might surprise yourself how truly incredible you are and how powerful you are, or perhaps you already know, in which case this is a beautiful chance to express that. I'd love to invite you to say thank you to your body, to your being, to this energy that creates everything for allowing us to be here today. This earth that we live on is full of light and darkness and love and fear, and all these different aspects make up these lives that we live, and we get to choose where we put our focus. And I was sharing with Artemis earlier about this unique time that we live in, where we have access to social media and to all of these news sites all around the world, and we can, for one of the first times ever, be on a platform and see what's happening in almost every country in the world. We can see what's going on with natural disasters, with famines, droughts, with all the incredible and beautiful and magical things, all the transformations happening. We can see all the courses and events our friends are running. And it's very easy in these times to lose our focus and get pulled into fear, doubt, chaos. And Artemis very beautifully guided me today back into my center and back into my wholeness and my truth. And I'd love, Artemis, if you feel, to share a little bit about what you told me earlier so everyone else can benefit too.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Luke, for allowing me to be here, and thank you for bringing us together to meditate and be peace. I'll start with a question. When you look at all the pain and suffering happening in the world right now, is it better to send love or to be love? Is it more beneficial to pray for someone across the earth or to be love in action where you are now? A lot of the issues we see on the earth today, the light and the dark. Where I live in Austin, Texas, there are two hurricanes happening right now, and hundreds of people have died in North Carolina. Tens of thousands of people have been misplaced from their homes. And there's another Category 5 hurricane coming into Florida. And I'm sure several people will die and tens of thousands of people will be displaced, billions of dollars of damage. And, you know, how do we face all this pain and suffering consciously? How do we love what we see and be the change we want to see when there's suffering around us? Many of us are coaches, consultants, healers, conduits, and we feel we're empathic. We're sensitive to the thoughts and feelings of others, and so when we see someone suffering, send prayer, send energy, or be compassionate, or maybe there's a different way to see Earth and to see things. So I was guiding Luke about the three levels of compassion. You know, when you're working with people through life, through pain, through suffering, there are three different ways you can be compassionate in that situation. And a lot of us get stuck in the first level of compassion, which is a deep appreciation and awareness of another's suffering with the need to fix it or alleviate it somehow, even if I'll just send a prayer or send a Facebook post or let's everyone get our energies together. Um, but that level of compassion is still trapped in duality, where if I need to heal something outside of myself and I'm not being love, then that is also trapped in fear, overcare, caring too much. How many of us have cared too much when someone is suffering around us? How many of us have cared too much when we see suffering across the planet? Um, and the second level of compassion, which is detached compassion, is a deep appreciation and awareness of another's suffering without the need to fix it or alleviate it. And this is where the mind gets to mature through the heart. and the soul. I've served over 24 years. I've been a healer and a coach, helping over 40,000 people in my career. And I've served at 3 holistic medical clinics. I've seen a lot of pain. I've seen a lot of suffering. I've lost myself in other people's pain and suffering. There was a patient at the Tree of Life who had testicular cancer, and he died under my care, under Dr. Gabriel Cousins and I's care. And it broke my heart. It hurt, when I lost someone under my care. So I know what it's like to lose someone you love. And I also know what it's like to let go and to be mature of mind and mature of heart, where I can be so compassionate about these people dying in this hurricane that I don't need to send love or prayer or energy. I can be love in action in my life, in my family, and I can be detached in my compassion. I can have mental discernment of how I choose to see the suffering on our planet. Because I was reminding Luke this morning that Earth is a very old schoolhouse for the soul. And when we're seeing compassion from the mind, we're split. But when we see through the soul, we are one. The mind is split, the heart is one. And when you look at all the people that might be suffering through natural disasters or hurricanes, think of all the choices that were made in their life that led them to be in harm's way. And from a soul's perspective, maybe it was meant to be. And can we really just be love in action? Can we be love in our family? Can we be love in our service? Can we have the discernment of where to put our focus as conduits, as guides, and move from attached compassion to detached compassion, and really love all the people just the way they are, and honor those souls for where they are, and put our focus back on our purpose, our life, our correction, our direction. Now, there are some souls who choose to play the role of rescuer, firefighters, nurses, doctors, emergency medical technicians, people who work for the Red Cross. Those souls feel the call to go and help. But when there's something happening, and a disaster in your community, in your country, in your world, ask the question, is this my soul's purpose to be of service, or is my soul better served somewhere else? Through living my purpose, through knowing my purpose, through being love in action. And that second level of compassion, I was reminded by one of my great mentors, Dr. Robert Morris, from the International School of Detoxification and the International School of the Healing Arts, because that man has served over 200,000 people and have brought people back from their deathbed with cancer. And he's in his 70s now and still shining and still serving. And he is a perfect embodiment of detached compassion, because some will and some won't, and some will wait on their path to awakening, on their path to healing. And we have to really understand from a soul's perspective where they are. And every one of us has free will. Every one of us gets to choose life or death. And every moment and every choice has power. And who are we to know the choices that those souls have made to put themselves in harm's way? Who are we to know their karma or their dharma? So is it more powerful to send love or to be love? And if you're choosing to be love, how and what way specifically? In your voice, in your vision, in your talents, in your purpose. And how is that love in action making a difference? Like Luke says, in this ripple effect of what we're building today in this coherent field of compassion and being love. Earth is a very old schoolhouse for the soul, and the souls that are in harm's way, the souls that experience these atrocities, they're all learning one very important lesson: how to master love. how to love what is beyond their mind, beyond the right and wrong conversation or the light and dark conversation or the duality of it all. Every soul who experiences pain and suffering lifetime after lifetime, one thing they are mastering is mastery of love. And after 24 years and serving 40,000 people, one thing I've learned is that every soul here on the earth will have to love what is unlovable and forgive what is unforgivable. When we do that, we set our mind free. When we can love what's unlovable and forgive what's unforgivable, and sometimes forgiveness is forgiving and giving and giving and giving until our heart matures. An immature heart will see the duality, will want to sin love, will want to bring people together and sin prayer and sin love. But a mature heart will understand the nature of the soul, and it will detach from the drama of it all. And it will ask, what is my soul's purpose in this situation? How can I best be love in action? And so the calling of our earth is not to fix what is outside of ourselves or to send love or to send prayer. The real calling is to mature the heart. And we're entering this age of enlightenment, this Sattva Yuga, this golden age. And in order for humanity to enter this golden age, it requires all of us enter with a very mature heart and not get stuck in the mind. As we move through the second level of compassion, detached compassion, there's a third level of compassion, and it is to see perfection and to call it forth in all that your words and all that you do and all of your deeds. And this is the compassion that Christ taught in his time on the earth during his ministry. There's a great book called The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. Have anyone heard that book? The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. Yeah, great story. Barrett T. Spalding, back I think in the 20s and 30s, him and a group of his best friends, they chose to go on a sojourn to India. And they went to India searching for the masters, the true embodied masters. And they found them. And they all learned this very special form of shorthand where they could take these journals with them. And as they were interacting with these great ascended master beings, beings that could levitate, bilocate, teleport themselves, perform miracles, they wanted to know, how do you do it? And so they used this shorthand to record everything the masters said. And then they brought it back to America and they compiled it into 3 books called The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East by Baird T. Spalding. Great reads, by the way, if you ever have a chance to read those books. In the second book, they meet Jesus in India, in his body, still walking the earth in secret. And as Jesus was giving him his discourse, he was explaining to them how he performed the miracles of instantaneous healing during his time. And when Jesus would encounter someone with a disease or an infirmity, in his Christ consciousness, he never saw the imperfection. He only saw perfection. He never saw the leprosy or the blindness or anything. He could sense their Christ self. He could sense their perfected nature. And through his vision, his faith, his knowing, and his prayer, he would call it forth by seeing perfection. And that's the third level of compassion, is to see perfection and to call it forth. That at the core of our being, we are a soul and we are made perfect in the image of God. And that every soul at the core of their being is a perfect child of God. And there's an image of perfection inside of each of us. And Christ was able to see that and live that and know that and feel that. And with great faith and knowing and prayer, he was able to perform miracles, not because he was looking for it, but because he saw it. Do you understand the difference? So when we see hurricanes killing people, when we see wars, when we see people taking vaccines unnecessarily and destroying their hearts and their blood, can we have detached compassion? Or can we see perfection? Can we understand that everything has a purpose under heaven? And our mind may never know the reason, but our soul knows the reason. And this is an important distinction when we as healers, when we begin to open our hearts to the world and to begin to serve thousands and tens of thousands, we cannot be attached at all to any outcome. We have to be detached. And then we rise into the soul plane, into the plane of non-duality, and the plane of pure awareness, pure being. And we literally start to step into every session, first seeing their perfection, seeing their wholeness. And then we work backwards from there. And that's one of the highest callings of our hearts and one of the greatest challenges of our mind when we see pain and suffering, especially if we're empaths, especially if we're sensitive to the thoughts and feelings of others. Of course, we want to go help at first or be of service. But with a mature heart, we detach. And with a mature mind, we start to know the truth. And then with a mature will, we start to see their perfection. And then we go in and we know that all healing is done by request. So if there is any pain or suffering around us that we're here to serve, we are not to serve it until we have been requested and asked for. 98 to 99% of the time, it's good to remain peacefully silent, vote their victory, and see perfection. It's a big challenge for me because when you get all these gifts, you want to go out and give them to the world, and you get so excited to share your modality, share your service. But sometimes the greatest service is to be love and to be connected to your soul and tune in. And if you see people out there, leaking their energy, then vote their victory, see their perfection, and ask yourself, how can I be love? How can I be love in action? Right here, right now.
How can I be love in action right here, right now? I'd love to invite you to close down your eyes, take a deep breath into the belly, and reflect on that. If you were being love, if you were doing something because it was your highest truth, how would you be? And take a few minutes to contemplate that. You can write it down if you choose to, or hold it in your consciousness. If you were being love, how would you show up in the world over the coming days or weeks? If you could imagine using the power of your consciousness that you were an embodied master, similar to Christ level consciousness, Buddha level consciousness, Krishna level consciousness, whatever you like to call it, a true walking master on the earth. If you were really embodying that, how would you show up differently today? How would you show up differently with your family, with your career, with your creations? And this is something I've contemplated on many, many hours. If you've ever explored quantum healing, you'll know that the brain and the body don't know the difference between something you imagine vividly and something that's actually happening. And so by connecting to these energies and calling it into your being, you start to activate and awaken. You start to become more compassionate, and you can move up the three levels of compassion, like Artemis shared. And it's so easy with an immature heart, as Artemis calls it, to let the drama of the world take us off the path. And if you have ever helped someone who's in distress, feeling sorry for them, pitying them, it's not the most powerful place to create transformation from. That first level of compassion. Perhaps you've seen the difference when someone comes to you and you decide to help them from that true choice, and you help them in that detached compassion. You embody love, you be love in that moment. And when your energy is high, how different is the impact that you make compared to when your energy is low? And this exact thing happened to me yesterday, which beautifully sparked this whole meditation today, which is the third level, the perfection. Because I was so affected yesterday by the things that are happening on the earth, I was weeping, I was praying. I got this moment of pure connection, and I asked this energy that creates everything to use me as a vessel to create peace on earth. And if that's something you resonate with, or you can change the words slightly, in that sincere moment, he said, use me as a vessel to create peace on earth. I will be brave, I will be courageous. Send me where I'm supposed to go. I trust you. I trust this beautiful plan. Let's create heaven on earth. And I had this inner shift because I was really feeling the energy of, especially the parents who have children who might be in distress. And I'm a father as well, and so is Artemis. And I was really in that. I was holding my daughters, and I was just so thankful that I have these beautiful children, that I have a beautiful family. And I sent so much love to everybody. And you can turn on the news any day and you can see what's happening in every country, all the wars, all the famines, all the challenges. Or you could start your day tuning in to all of the beautiful things that are happening in the world. You could tune in to all the incredible shifts and transformations that are happening during this great awakening period, all the people that are now becoming more conscious, all the people that are embodying love. One of my friends, he's been on this path for over 30 years and told me that he's seen in the last 3 or 4 years more people having these awakenings than in the last 30 years. And now you can talk about these things openly, whereas 30 years ago, it wasn't quite so possible. And so if we tune in at the start of our day from that place, how can I be loved today? What's my highest choice today? What's my truest choice? What is the optimal way for me to be? What shall I create? How can I plant some seeds of love, peace, unity? Can you feel how different the world would be if there were millions of us doing that every day? I've got some great news for all of you. There are millions of us. There are many, many millions of us. And it's just a case of inspiring those other parts of the oneness. This is the basis of unity consciousness. There's one thing, we're all a part of it. And we could send right now a reminder to all the other humans that are open to receive it. You can imagine planting a seed in their heart to remind them that they too can be love, that they too can see the perfection in the world, that they can elevate their consciousness. And I love the word remind because we all know this. When we get to our truth, we all know this. And one of the very interesting things about the earth, or the earth school, like Artemis calls it, is this amnesia that we get, this forgetting that we get. And that is a very important part of the earth game. I like to call it a game. If you were born with full Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Buddha consciousness, full remembrance of who you are, knowing exactly why you're here, with all of your powers and gifts and skills activated, the game would be over. You would have full God realization, and there would be no way to play. And isn't it such a beautiful unfolding to come on the journey of remembering how powerful you are, of reminding yourself of your true nature? This can be a beautiful thing to share with people. You could send now, if you take a deep breath into the belly and out, you could imagine a ripple of excitement beaming out from your heart, beaming out to everyone that's open to receiving it, of how beautiful life can be when they remember who they are, reminding them of how incredible they are, igniting that spark of appreciation in their being for whatever their circumstances, that they are here now on the earth, that they can take a deep breath into the belly and out. They get to enjoy this whole experience, the pleasant parts and the unpleasant parts, the love and the fear can all drive us, move us, inspire us to remember who we are. If we can imagine this ripple going out, maybe even further than the earth, maybe it goes out and every particle in the entire cosmos can feel it. Every particle that's open to receiving that. And the image I have is that inside our being, we have this fire, this passion. And when we meet another person, we can ignite that fire, that passion in them. And that can then turn into this incredible force for good, this incredible being filled with love. And we can't rush that or force that. That's not the point of the game. The point of a song is not to get to the end as quickly as possible. It's to enjoy the song and maybe dance if you feel to, and find a way to flow with whatever the rhythm is of the moment. And if you're in this third level of compassion, this perfection, even if you just have a small idea of what that is right now, maybe you've directly experienced unity consciousness in this lifetime. You can see how perfect you are. One of my greatest mentors called Wayne Dyer, and his mantra every day was, I am perfect health. He called perfect health into his body and into his being. Have you ever contemplated on how incredible your body is? Every single second, your body makes roughly 3 million new cells. Every second, 3 million new cells, 3 million new cells, 3 million new cells. And they have never been commanded before. They've never had an instruction. You give them their first instruction every second with your thoughts, with your way of being, with the energy that you are emanating. And after you go to sleep at night, when you awaken at the start of the day, how are you commanding all of those new cells that have been created while you've been resting and regenerating? When you remember, each of those cells has its own consciousness. And when you positively ignite that inspiration in those cells, that creates a ripple. And if you've ever felt that you were insignificant, that you couldn't make a difference, I'd love for you to take a deep breath in and out, and shift that feeling of powerlessness, and remember what a difference you make. Every time your heart beats, it sends out a pulse, it sends out a wave. This is measurable. You can go and check out the Institute of Heart Math. They can measure this. And that pulse is your frequency, it is your signature, and it goes out. And how far does it go out? It goes out everywhere. Quantum entanglement shows that you are connected right now to every person in Australia, every person in America, every person in Russia, every person who's in Florida right now, every person who's in Palestine or Israel or Lebanon or wherever it is. You are connected to everyone in Africa, all of the places in the world. Every time your heart beats, it sends out a wave and a pulse. And if you send those out with intention, how incredible can that be? So meditating, coming and being peace, embodying love, embodying unity. However long you meditate for 5 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 hours, you're beaming that out to the collective. And a lot of people believe we have this collective consciousness. And one of my great teachers, he told me that he can see people's thought bodies, that we have a physical body and we have a thought body. He says, if you constantly manifest a red Ferrari, I can literally tune in and see a red Ferrari in your energy field. And I find this absolutely fascinating. And there's many books that say the same thing, that when you think a thought, that thought sends out a pulse, sends out a wave, which gets added to the collective. And so if you think how many positive and empowering thoughts you have every day compared to how many you used to have 10 years ago, you'll see what a difference you make just by thinking, just by being loved, just by being beautiful. And when you reprogram your subconscious, when you make your mind your friend, your ally, your mind is a tool that you can use, but most people let their mind run rampant, creates chaos. And so learning to master the mind, whether it's using meditation, hypnotherapy, q-rit, any kind of quantum healing, it's a very powerful thing to do because then your subconscious thoughts are beautiful. My inner talk now is amazing. Almost always. There's still a few moments where I do get swept up in someone else's drama or in the chaos of the world. And I can see the perfection in that. It inspires us to make things like this. And so I'd love for you, after this meditation today, to think about what aligned actions you could take to spread more peace, love, unity, or whatever your soul frequency is, whatever your energy is you're here to embody and personify in this lifetime. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Think about what could you do or create after this. I know one of the people on here has already just created a group for light workers and healers to come together and meditate. And that gets me so excited. If you are open to being a teacher or bringing people together in some kind of way, creating courses or podcasts or videos or a blog and sharing what you know, you can inspire thousands or millions of people in this lifetime. And if you are a parent or a guardian of children, you have the opportunity to inspire this in them. And they will listen to your words, but they'll mostly be inspired by your actions. They'll see you as a demonstration of love. And when I went to India and studied yoga, I learned about a particular aspect of yoga called bhakti yoga. And bhakti yoga is about being love, it's embodying love. It's about mystical devotion. It's about how can I use this love energy to make a beautiful impact in myself and others. And so my deepest wish for all of you that are open to receive it is that you can take this energy, anything that we've shared here today that is in your highest good, that you can take that, embody that, spread it in the most beautiful way that you know how to do. And let's be the generation that brings peace to the earth. Let's be the generation that helps the majority of the population come into unity consciousness. 51% or more of people being in unity consciousness. Can you imagine that? Because if you can imagine that, that sends out a ripple of possibility. Imagine if most people in the world knew how to be love, knew how to heal their challenges and traumas, knew how to heal whatever is happening in their lives that might be taking them out of their truth. and we can create systems on the earth so we can eradicate homelessness, poverty, starvation, any of the things in the world that might take us out of love, which is our truth. We can create a world where everybody thrives. Can we send that out? Can we beam that out? If that feels aligned for you, just imagine what that would be like. Just take a moment, shift your consciousness forward to an era where everybody thrives. Everybody in Africa has water, everyone has food, everyone feels safe and loved, everyone is connected to their inner being, everyone has a safe place to sleep at night. Thank you so much for doing all that inner work to be able to even be here today and listen to this today. That means you are a very special being. And it means you have so much magic inside of you. And if myself or Artemis can support you in any way, it would be our greatest pleasure. We're on a mission to bring together 1 million healers in the Quantum Healers Alliance. We're building healing centers all over the world, teaching millions of people quantum healing with q-rit. We're building and reforming the education system in the world so that children can get education that's actually supporting them, supporting their health. On a mission to upgrade the food system so people can eat nourishing food. And we're on a mission to build communities all over the world. And what an incredible time it is to be alive. Sending a special thanks to the technologies that allow us all to connect. This wasn't possible when I was a child, now it is. And with this increased ability to share our wisdom, just think how fast we're going to transform the world, because those millions of people that have awakened in the last few years are now going and awakening more. I see it like popcorn, it pop, 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 and there's no stopping this amazing awakening. If you know anyone who could benefit from this, one of the ways you could change the world is just by sending it to them. Just send them the link, let them know that there's something really beautiful here for them, and you have transformed the entire world. How amazing is that? And whenever we come to the end of a meditation, it's always a fantastic idea to come back to that feeling of groundedness, connectedness, and ask to integrate all of the things from this experience that are in your highest good in the most beautiful and graceful way. Asking that anything that no longer serves you is released, removed, and cleared in the perfect way so that you can have the most incredible next chapter of your life, the most incredible rest of your day. And as you breathe, soften and relax. One last time, thanking whoever or whatever you believe in for this experience. You can thank your body. I like to give my body a nice big hug. Sometimes we take our bodies for granted, these incredible vehicles that we have. I like to give mine little kisses too. I really look forward to seeing how you take this and what you create with it. You're amazing. Don't ever forget that. And be well, be love, and shine your authentic truth everywhere you go.